Welcome to the Wildcats podcast, coming to you from Wildcats Studios with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Hockey is back. Welcome back to another episode of the Wildcats podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats. As always, I am your host Adam Lund, and I am joined again in studio by your favorite co-hoster, Mass Singer aficionado, Big Brother aficionado. I mean, the tags just keep growing and growing for him, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. Mr. Boucher, how are you?
We did it.
We did it.
We did it. Finally.
You did it.
We did it. Yes.
No, you did it.
Well, I did it.
You have pulled so many strings.
That's right.
Like 2 weeks ago, you pulled strings, got New Brunswick hockey back. As Gerry Green calls it, the Maritime North Division in our little 3-team pocket. Last week, you promised, Pat, you'd talk to the Nova Scotia government. You did that as well. Our intro for you is getting longer and longer and longer. It's unbelievable. Thank you.
Listen, I just listened to the gods. They tell me, the fans tell me what they want. I pick up the phone. You know, it's all about sales, right? I use my sales pitch like I do for work. So these teams need to be playing hockey. Fans need to be watching hockey. Next thing you know, here we go. Here we are. Look, the Mooseheads were supposed to be off until the end of March, like the 27th or something like that. And they're back in action, I guess, tonight or tomorrow or
yesterday.
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 These dates always mess me up. So last night, the Mooseheads were back in action when they were supposed to be out until the end of March. Same with Charlottetown. I thought they were going to be, with this whole 2-week circuit breaker thing.
Yeah.
I didn't think they'd be back until the middle of March, but here they are. They're back as well. When Boucher talks, the people listen, right?
That is very true.
When the fans want their teams back, when they want their hockey back, they just got to pick up the phone and talk to me. Right? I know the people. My boy, Mr. Ian Rankin, Premier of Nova Scotia, that's what I said last week. Both Holland College alumni. I gave him I talked to him a little bit, and I said, look, rookie, we need some hockey back. We need the Mooseheads back in action. And look. I did it. Happened. I pulled it off.
Look what happened. Yeah, it's finally nice to see more than just 2 teams in the Maritimes division playing as well. St. John and Bathurst are playing as we record this. So last night, for when you listen to it, we're about 10 minutes into this game at time of recording, and it's been sloppy.
It's been sloppy. However, Bathurst just took a 1-0 lead on a very nice goal by their captain, Matthew DeGagne. So that's, very, very nice goal. That's very sloppy hockey. Players falling all over the place.
Which is to be expected.
They're making me look like a great skater. So I can only imagine it's going to be nice, something like this on Thursday night. But we get lots to talk about before we start previewing some hockey games.
Yeah, it was a nice goal. It's just good to be able to watch hockey in our division while we're doing this. So the pulp culture stuff, Hell's Kitchen. I still don't know how Mark continues to survive. Again, like Lauren, I don't think he's going to survive much longer. I think the blue team is about done with him. I get why Adam went home. Both guys stopped talking, and when you're in the position they're in, which I think he was garnishing meat, you can't not talk. Man, as I watch that show, it just amazes me the skills that chefs have. Here I am, I try to cook something, and I got to read the instructions 3-4 times. I got to make sure I got that part right. Then I got to set a timer. These guys are just like, how long? 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes, and it's unbelievable. But I don't know how Mark continues to survive. I hope he doesn't survive for much longer than another episode because I can't stand him, but I think the blue team is about done with him.
I thought he was going home last week.
Yeah.
I really thought Adam was going to survive a week, and you saw the members of the blue team. They were almost like in shock or annoyed or frustrated that Mark wasn't the one that went home. So
what has he been up 4 times?
Yeah, something like that. He's got a huge target on his back, and yeah, like you said, I don't see him lasting very much longer. If he's not gone this week, he is gone next week for sure.
Please. As well, last week, Big Brother started. Big Brother episode 1 was last Wednesday. Mm-hmm. The floor is yours, sir. We were hoping to get Dobson here to discuss it with you. Maybe we'll get him here next week. He is a big deal now with his quarantine TV, so I think he actually records the same night as we do. But we're going to see if we can lock him down for next week so you guys can have a little chat. But the floor is yours for Big Brother Episode 1. Is my person still there?
Who was it again?
Tara.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Tara's very safe.
Woo!
But another very nice goal by the Bathurst Titans. Anyways, so they kicked it off with Team Defender versus Team Destiny, and they had Kiefer and the Newfoundlander Tina,
yeah.
Tina. So they were selected by Canada as the team captains, so it was weird. There was like a team comp where it was sludge buckets, and you had to hold on to your sludge bucket without it dropping in the water. And the team who had the last surviving member, the entire team was safe for the week. And while the team that lost, all those team members were up for nomination and eviction. So it turns out that Julie was evicted on week 1, and we have a new head of household. Austin is the first official head of household of Big Brother, and I believe Kiefer and Josh were nominated for eviction.
Okay.
And we had, I think Kiefer won the POV, so he took himself off. And of course, my guy Rohan was named the replacement nominee. So my my final 2 prediction might only last 1 full week. So we'll see how that goes. But that's basically your Big Brother in a minute.
Is it any different than it has been, other than the 2 teams?
Not really.
That seems like that's new, but
it is very new.
They teased it that it was going to be all different and in quarantine and all that. Did they explain how they, what they had to do to get into this household before it started, or not really?
Well, they quarantined for 14 days. They were tested. I think they said 3 times, and they didn't really get into. They just said it was a 14-day quarantine. They were tested a bunch of times. When they were out in the studio, they were wearing their masks. As soon as they walked into the house, they could take them off. When you're evicted, you have to put your mask back on. So really, that right now they're it's like a bubble, like a 14-person bubble kind of thing. So it's so far so good. I mean, it hasn't been that dramatic yet. Still a feeling out process with them all. I'm just waiting for someone to blow a gasket, because I love the drama. That's what I watch these reality TV shows for. But so far they seem to be all getting along. But that, when you live in a household...
It's only episode 1.
When you live in a household with 14 complete strangers, it's only a matter of time before something blows up. So I'm just waiting for that.
When you say go outside, you mean outside, like in the backyard? They're gonna put on a mask on?
No,
or
like when they're evicted.
Oh,
and
okay.
they go out back to the studio, I guess, to talk to Arissa. I was gonna say Julie, but that's Big Brother USA. Arissa Cox. When they go to talk to Arissa, they have to put their mask back on. So whenever they're in the house, they can.
Oh,
they
so
can have their
outsider.
mask off.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And tonight, it's a big night. Mass Singer tonight. So I found People.com now has 11 of the masks we're going to see. So we've got the Phoenix, Grandpa Monster, the Chameleon, the Russian Dolls, which I believe, if I saw in the commercial correctly, there's a Russian doll and then another Russian doll that comes out of that. Then you've got the Porcupine, the Cloodle-Dee-Doo, which is a chicken, Snail, Seashell, and what do we got? Black Swan, which we knew about, Piglet, and a raccoon. So it'll be interesting. Again, my really early Black Swan was Mila Kunis, just because she was in that movie for no other reason. I've got no ideas on clues, so stay tuned to us weekly for that update. And if you want to stay with us for hockey, you can also follow us on Twitter at Moncton Wildcast and on Instagram at Wildcast Podcast. I've got no quick questions, so let's get to news and notes from around the queue.
News and notes from around the queue.
All right, so for Moncton, Jacob Hudson was named Scholastic Player of the Month in February. As well, he's committed to going to St. FX next fall.
That's such a huge shock. I mean, it's only in his backyard.
Yeah, that's very true.
I could have put every last penny in my bank account on him committing to Saint FX. Did you know
I didn't.
that the Saint FX X ring that you get once you're a graduate
Yep.
is the second most recognizable ring in the world after the Super Bowl ring?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Fun fact.
I did not know that.
There you go.
What else is happening in the queue? Oh, that's right. New Brunswick is playing hockey.
Yes, the first, as Pat McNeil pointed out on Twitter. So tonight's, or I guess last night's St. John Bathurst game
Yep.
is the first QMJHL game in New Brunswick in 115 days. First, just to put some perspective on that, when St. John lost in the 2017 Memorial Cup semifinal, their next game was 118 days later. So it's less if you count the exhibition. That's how long these teams have been off. That's basically like a off season.
Yeah.
So that's, you got to think that's why the hockey is so sloppy.
That's why it feels like an exhibition game in the first period. Yeah, like you said, we've got 2 games going tonight or last night. This trying to remember what day we're on is.
Let's just say, whatever.
The 2 games that we're playing were Bathurst and St. John. Bathurst is up 2-0, and Charlottetown and Halifax. Charlottetown's up 2-0. We've seen them play before. We know all about them. You look at Bathurst and St. John. Things are quite a bit different. Both teams. And you can just start looking in goal. I mean, St. John added Zachary Iman and Bathurst added Jan Bednar. Both teams have some pieces, some new pieces. It's an exciting time to be in Bathurst, to be a fan right now.
I think so. Yeah, they're definitely trending in the right direction. Bednar is a goalie that a highly regarded goalie on the world stage. Still surprised he didn't get. I don't think he saw any action at the World Juniors.
No, he was the third the whole time.
Yeah, which was, kind of shocking to me. But he's someone that's going to lead, Bathurst going into next season, because you got to think next season is going to be their year where they want to look at a championship, because as far as we know, the Memorial Cup will be back in the queue as a host city, unless there's just absolutely no Memorial Cup next year, this season, and they just decide to give it to the O. Who knows what that's going to happen? That's still a ways away, but for right now, we can say that it is the Q's turn to host the Memorial Cup in 2022. So that's they're building in the right direction.
If you're Trevor Georgia, you're like, we're taking everything in stride. We're taking everything in stride. There's no Memorial Cup this year. We're going to go back to the O. You've got to be kidding me. I built this team. You can take a lot of things in stride until the Memorial Cup doesn't come to Quebec when it's supposed to. And they'd have to compete Quebec and St. John, but you know what I mean? Come on.
It's, so as long as they don't decide to give it back to the O next season, then, it should be in the queue next season. Either Quebec or Gatineau or St. John will be hosting it. That's the only 3 teams I can think of myself. So that's what Bathurst is building for. When they won their Memorial Cup, I think was in Regina.
Yes.
Yeah. So they want to. I think they might want to have it a little closer so they can have another party with their fans. Bednar's the goalie to do it, and they've got a nice. Some good O2s and some good O3s. They got some young O4s. They are trending in the right direction, and they're going to be a really good team next season.
Yeah, it's been painful for that franchise. What do they have, like 9 wins in 2 years or something like that? But you can just tell the team that they're building and coming together.
Speaking of Bednar, he's currently he's down on the ice being helped to by the trainer.
Oh,
off to a good start.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah, I'm just watching the replay, and he's got his hand up. Oh, that's not good. We should stop talking about them because fans are going to... Oh, the Wildcats, they're at it again. They cursed us. Let's go to St. John. A lot of difference. It's almost a brand-new team. I mean, no Waugh. They added another 20-year-old goaltender in Iman, giving up basically all the picks to get all the 20-year-old goaltenders. Ryan Francis was a big acquisition. It's where is St. John? Like, not where is it? I know where it is, but where are they in terms of what this season's going to look like?
They look a lot better. They do look a lot better. Iman, Francis, Kotkov, those are, 3 big acquisitions. But to me, I came across a tweet over the weekend, and it reminds me a lot of the SeaDogs. They're like Moxies. They look elite, they look sexy, but at the end of the day, they still serve chicken fingers. So that's just the way that they remind me of. They remind me of Moxies. Looks fancy on the outside, looks fancy on the inside.
Yeah,
but they still got it. They still have a kids menu. So that's just my take on the SeaDogs. There's still a lot of I called it egos. A lot of egos in that dressing room.
Yep. That
are, I think, holding them back. And look, I know it's only been 20 minutes here since their first game in over 100 days. Yeah. Nothing's changed.
No.
So it's I don't know what to expect. They seem like a team that if you play them tough and you hit them, you can beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Francis has always been a very a favorite player of mine in the league. I think he's going to be really good for them this year and next year. I just don't think he's as he will be back in the queue as a 20. I know that for a fact because he was a late birthday. He doesn't have to sign with Calgary or anything like that. Mm-hmm. He's a player they need. He's that he's got the compete level. He's got the skill, but they need more guys like him, and they just don't have that. It's in their heads, right? They have a lot of dressing room, locker room, whatever you want to call it. Just a bad some bad people in the room, I guess you want to put it that way. So until they figure that out, this team I don't think will do much.
And they've got a NHL experienced coach behind the bench, and Greg Gilbert. And it's gonna take some time, and obviously this is a tough year. It's tough to gauge on what you're gonna get from them, but I don't think you're that far off. Like it just seems like no matter what they try to do, it just seems like something keeps getting in their way. Mm-hmm. And rightly or wrongly, did they move out a player that was part of the egos in the locker room? Yeah, and it's only been 20 minutes, but it still shows. And we're not in that room. We're not even close to following that team. But it just kind of feels like it's the same rhetoric. And I don't know what they do to change it or what Trevor Georgie does to change it, to get it figured out. He seems to bring in the bright pieces from a Ryan Francis, a Christopher Ennis, Zach Iman. I mean, you're bringing in guys that have won other places, and Liam Leonard. Stop
drafting guys that have NCAA commitments who think they're coming here to run the show. Like, I understand the strategy. You draft the best player available, but don't take the best player available based on you have to look at everything. Like there's skill, there's compete, there's character. There's so many things that have to go into it when you draft a player. And they're just but the past few drafts, they've just been drafting the best player available, regardless of what their past is about, what their future plans are about. They need to seriously take a look at things and come to a consensus on how are we really going to address this team going forward.
Well, three of their first 4 picks in rounds 1, 2, 2, and 3 in 2019 were players that didn't want to. 2 of them were going NCAA, and one of them, there was reports he didn't want to play in St. John. So it would be interesting to ask Trevor Georgie, probably not on the record, maybe off the record, if he regrets the Joshua Waugh pick. Right? Like, you get a guy with reports that doesn't want to show up, and he did everything right. He was picked. He put on the jersey. He showed up. He was a good player for him, but he wasn't as soon as he got a break out of it during this thing, I'm not going back to St. John. He held out. So it's like, does he kind of regret taking that? Or like you said, I'm trying to find, I guess round 2 would be it to see. So they took Peter Reynolds 21st overall. They could have had, a Felix Paquette, a Drew Elliott, Zach Bigger. And you can play the game of who they could have had with every team. And we're not trying to say who they made mistakes on, but just how does the team look different if they don't get the guys that are NCAA type players that think they can come back here and run the show. I mean, they took Cam McDonald, Daniel Agostino, Sam McKinney was taken just after him, which is defenseman, and they needed picks in, maybe they needed a forward at that time, but you just look at that. That's 3-4 picks. I mean, Justin Bergeron was taken to start the 4th round. I'm sure he could help on that back end, right? Like, it's just, how different would they look if they didn't take those 3 players with those 3 picks?
Exactly. Like, if you look through the roster, Peter Reynolds had an NCAA commitment. Josh Lawrence had an NCAA commitment. I think Charlie DeRoche had an NCAA commitment. Cam McDonald had an NCAA commitment. Like, these, it's so, when you talk about players who have NCAA commitments, but you get to report them at, to the Q, it's supposed to be big news, right? But really, like, these guys, they've been, look, like you said, we're not in that dressing room, so we don't really know. We're just going off, stuff that we've heard through the grapevine. But these are, like, there's clicks in this dressing room, and that's what's driving this team apart. And it happened in Moncton.
I was just gonna say, didn't that happen in Moncton in
2012, 2013? I think it was. So after when we traded Brandon Gormley to Shawinigan, and instead of keeping all those draft picks that we got, we grabbed some futures from Shawinigan, Alex Dubois and Jonathan Racine and Yannick Veilleux, and I know I'm missing one. And they came to Moncton, and they were just their own group. They hardly ever, wanted to gather with the team and go out and do things together. So that's what it just hurts, and that's what hurts the team, and that's what's going on in St. John is they're just, I don't think they're gelling. I guess they've been together for a while, but they're just to me it looks like it's 2 different groups every time they're on the ice.
No, it looks like those were just the 3 players. June 8th, I believe, of 2012. Shawinigan sent Alex Dubois, Jonathan Racine, and Yannick Veilleux to Moncton for the 5th in the 2012 draft. 2 fifths, a first in 2013, and a third and a 5th in 2013. So you had the 3 players. And it's not, this isn't us trying to bash St. John. We got time to do that after playing them. But we had the same conversation last year about all the talent. They had Josh Lawrence. They had Joshua Waugh. I mean, most of it was the debate between Joshua and LaRue. Like, if you switch the players on the teams, is Joshua whatever. But it's why the Wildcats are putting out videos about the Wildcat way. It's, these guys are, and if you see them in the little behind-the-scenes video or things they did last year, I mean, they were just together. They were all together. And again, we're not media by any stretch where we can be in and around the rooms when it was permitted last year to see how these guys interact with each other. But that's what Moncton is building, and we've heard Richie talk about it many times, the Wildcat way, and you got to find that right player and his board. It might not be the best player on the board, but it's the guy that they identify that comes in and can make this team better on and off the ice.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yes, it comes to a point where if you're 5 rounds into the draft and you've picked all forwards, you get to your 5th round pick and you need a defenseman. Well, if there is a defenseman that was ranked in the 1st round, but they said, okay, well, I'm not going to go to the queue, chances are you're not going to pick him. Like, if you're interviewing this player and says, I'm not going to the queue, but I do have an interest in playing in Moncton, okay, maybe swing for the fences and take him. Like, you look at a couple of years ago when we drafted Brandon Walker, and he was one of the most talented defensemen in his draft year in midget AAA. I don't think he got picked until the 10th round. That's a gamble, right? I understand he didn't play for us, right? But he had an interest. If that's the thing that St. John is doing right now, they're gambling on these players that they're hoping they can convince to report. If you go and take a player like I don't know if Peter Reynolds or Cam McDonald would have lasted until the 5th round. But if you're St. John, you just go and you peg these, you take players that are going to fit into your lineup, and then as the draft goes on, that's when you take you try to swing for the fences.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a huge problem with Moncton back in the day when some assistant general manager up in Bathurst was a general manager of Moncton. Too many gambles, too many off the board picks, and you find those diamonds in the rough. Like Jeremy McKenna, I think was a 5th round pick, if I'm not mistaken. Mika Sear was a 2nd round pick. These Connor Garland was a 6th round pick.
Hudson was a 4th.
Hudson was a 4th round pick. These are late round picks that end up being really good finds. I remember when we picked Jacob Hudson in 4th round at the draft in Charlottetown. He was just this 5'8", 160 pound guy that I hadn't even heard of before. I'd followed the draft and I haven't even heard of this guy before.
Which is shocking because he was captain of
Yeah.
one of the best midget teams in Canada, or not one of the best midget team in Canada.
That was the year after. Yeah, so he was drafted as a Wildcat. He was drafted as a 15-year-old. He went back to play midget, and as a 16-year-old, he was captain of Cape Breton West.
Yeah,
but I mean, in his draft year, 5 goals, 15 assists, and 5 goals, 15 assists in 34 games. That's pretty. Those are good numbers for a 15-year-old, but still, it's not something that you would find in the 4th round. Those are stats you might get at a 6th or 7th round. So that was those are the picks you need, right? You make those picks count. This is the problem with St. John is it's that, like, they're a player like Peter Reynolds or a player like Cameron McDonald. They've got NCAA commitments. Chances are they're still going to be on the board in the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds, or possibly even later than that. Mm-hmm. You wait and grab those guys later in the draft. And if they report, fantastic. If they don't, no big deal. They're not. I'm not saying they're wasted draft picks. They're still young players, but they still have a lot to prove. Peter Reynolds says, I was expecting a lot more than from him this year. Josh Lawrence, I think he's been a disappointment.
Yeah, he's still the first preseason when the show got going, when you were added, he was a Wildcat killer. Like every preseason game and early games on, he was killing us.
Yeah, and it's the same thing from him all the time.
Yeah,
it's the same thing from him. He gets the puck, gets the puck, goes for a skate around the net.
Yeah.
He does he does at least a loop and a half before he tries to find use your teammates a little better.
Yeah. Bang on the 10th round for Brandon Walker.
Thank you.
He was the 10th round, 167th selection. So if Moncton takes the swing on Brandon Walker early, maybe they miss out on Jordan Spence because they took the highly regarded defenseman that would maybe play in Moncton. That wouldn't have worked out. Even if they maybe Nicholas Kingsbury Fournier, say what you will, he was part to get more pieces. Lavallee, he was part to get more pieces. But that's what you're saying. If you take a swing on the guy that might show up in round 2 and 3, you're going to miss on some talent. And like I said, this isn't a shot at them. It's just, as an outsider, what we kind of see is wrong with this hockey club. And who knows, maybe they get it fixed later on and into next year, and they're crushing everyone and everything's hunky-dory, and we just cursed them to play better.
That seems to happen on this show.
That's kind of what we do. So
we say one thing and the complete opposite happens.
So, St. John fans, I know that was probably not fun to hear, but maybe it'll turn out for you. It would be fun to get Trevor Georgie on the show and ask him some of these questions. As well, we'd have to go permission though, of course, but as well, QMJHL Team of the Week, Bolduc and Cormier from Rimouski and Poulin from Val-d'Or. On defense, it was Kashnikov from Gatineau and Spence from Val-d'Or. And then Hudabise, I think I said that right, from Victoriaville. Hopefully we can kind of see some Wildcats on there at some point as we get the season underway tomorrow.
Let's do that hockey.
Let's do that hockey.
Weekly Rewind.
Well, again, not much to go over here for a weekly rewind intro. The Wildcats did have another scrimmage. It was a 3-1 red victory. Goals from Pilat, Daou, and Bernier, the empty netter. And the lone goal, Team White, was from Hudson. Again, not much to take from this scrimmage. I think you said Loshing wasn't playing.
Yeah, Loshing wasn't playing, so that's a substantial absence.
Load management? 4 months off and you...
Yeah. Staying back at Moncton for the Christmas vacation is load management. There was some rumblings that there's an injury there. We just don't know what kind of injury, how long it's gonna keep him out of action. I don't know what to expect there. I haven't been able to get any sort of confirmation on whether it's true he's injured or what's going on. So I'm waiting to hear back.
I liked it a lot better when it was a maintenance day.
COVID protocol.
Yeah. Hopefully he's back in the lineup tomorrow. Filion looked a little bit more comfortable. Again, he's going to play, and it's going to be interesting to see him play, and he's probably going to let a few... he could stand on his head, but he could look like a 16-year-old goaltender. And, I was talking to Jonathan Waugh about this, and I'm just excited to see we traded for this guy. We traded Jordan Spence for this guy. Like, you just know it's coming. Just give it some time. Please give it some time. But you know what? Let's not talk about scrimmages. Let's get into previewing some games. We play tomorrow night, 7 o'clock against Acadie Bathurst, who is up 2-0, I believe, on St. John right now.
Yeah.
2-0. So, Moncton is 6-7, a .462 winning percentage. Good enough for fourth in the division. This game's going to look very different. Team's going to look very different both tomorrow and Saturday. Where do you want to start?
Start by getting some points on the board.
Yeah.
Pucks in deep.
Four lines banging.
Everybody's contributing. All lines are firing. Feels great. Absolutely.
Yep. Off the glass and out.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know what to expect. I really don't know what to expect. A couple wins, I'll be happy. Couple losses, I won't be surprised. It's when you have your first game in over 100 days, you just don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if these other teams have done scrimmages. I'm sure they have to kind of get that game feel. But again, these scrimmages are maybe 70%, 75% if we're lucky. So it's going to be a different feel. I think the Dakota Lund Cornish factor could work in Moncton's favor because he is a veteran goaltender. I really don't think Bathurst will start Chad Arsenault. Bednar is the number one guy. But, it's only going to be a second career Q game at that point. I think at that point he'll still be getting used to the game and the pace. He's never seen any of these players before.
Yeah.
So I think just that might give Moncton the edge. But Bathurst has a really skilled group. I think it's going to be...
They have a hard group to play against, too. They built that hard group to play against. Very physical. They added Jackson Bellamy, who's not easy in front of the net with going against 16 rookies. He's going to look to push. He was pushing guys around last year. He's going to be looking to push guys around this year. He's like him and McCormick. They didn't build a small team. This is a very physical team. Now, Moncton's had some success against them. We haven't lost in 116 days, which is a hell of a streak for this hockey club.
That's right.
They're a tough team to play against, and
and it's you know what, I think it might be a high scoring game, or it's going to be a low scoring game. So
not a middle scoring game.
Not a middle scoring game at all.
Either 2-1 or 10-9.
Yeah,
no 4-3.
Let's go with one of that. Was it the game earlier this season where it was like a 7-6 overtime winner and the hat trick? It was a Spence slapper from for his hat trick goal. I won't be wrong with that. I've always, at the start of the season, I made jokes about how I think when we sit the end that we sit in at the games, the Wildcats might have only scored 3 goals, and that at that end of the ice. So I want to see some goals, man.
Yeah, they played 6 home games. I think it took them 3 games to get 1. I think you had remarked.
Yeah, I think it was. It was a Gabriel Bernier goal. That was the first one we saw from that end of the ice.
Yeah.
And there we have Ryan Francis's first goal as a SeaDog. So
2-1.
Yeah,
look at that. We talked about them, and
now they're
there we go.
Their wheels are spinning now. I don't know what to expect. I'm not gonna, if they lose 2 games, I'm not gonna come here next week and rip the tire off them. Right? There's absolutely there would be no excuse if they lose both games. I'm not going to be excited if they win both games. I'm not going to be pissed off if they lose both games. Just get these couple games under your belt, and then just
use these 2 as exhibition, and then there's no excuse after this.
Exactly. You can't lose another game the rest of the season.
No, it's you
have to go undefeated.
You can minimum go 0-2, and then you got to go 6-2.
Yeah,
like 6 straight.
Just win out.
0 excuses. They've split this, I guess, first half with Bathurst. They lost 2-0, 4-2. Then they had that 7-6 OT, and then they beat them 5-3 on Pink in the Rink night. You're bang on. I mean, we've said it from day one. This is going to be a young team. Come to the rink and work, and we won't. There's nothing we can say if you come to the rink and work. If you're gonna get blown out, even like 9-4, they came back to work the next night. They beat Bathurst. I'll be interesting to see how well the D core comes together. I mean, they went from having 3, veterans early on to Tristan DeYoung is now the guy. I mean, they added Hamel, who's a Q vet too, but McKinney's had a cup of coffee, but they still got Iasenza Pilat-Paven, who, like I've said, when you have the right veterans in place, your young guys don't have to play too many minutes and get stretched out. Did they do enough with Hamel and McKinney? I think so. It'll be interesting to see how the 4 rookies on this. I mean, Sam McKinney's technically a rookie, but he's had some games last year. I think, didn't he? Or is he just this year? See, all these new guys, you got to get used to what they played. He played 3 games last year, so that's going to count for my thing. But, I mean, Iasenza, Pilat, Paven, Olsen, how are these guys going to respond? It'll be interesting to see how the defense comes in front of, because we've always had veteran-laden good defensive groups that we haven't had to worry about. And I would still say the defense is the strength of this team.
A strength? I think the strength is in goal.
Yeah.
Now that you've lost Forche, you've lost Spence, Lund Cornish is your guy.
Yeah.
Tristan is your guy. Like, these are the 2 guys that and Hudson's your guy. Like, these are your 3 20-year-olds. But I think if this team is going to be strong defensively, it's going to be because Lund Cornish is. If this team wins games, it's because Lund Cornish is going to be standing on his head. The D is young, but they're active. The forwards are young, but they're active. So that's what excites me about this group is that, if they play. One thing I saw in those scrimmages, and I would have absolutely no problem if this was their new style. 3 forwards and 4D, 3 forwards and 1D, always on the rush, right? What does this team have to lose? Nothing. What does this team have to gain? I mean, they have to gain some points, so they're not in that lottery position. But if this team goes and they take a lot of chances. Yeah, a few of these chances are probably going to come and bite them in the butt. But if they got 3 forwards and 1D in the rush, on the rush all the time, they're gonna get some goals that way.
I'd rather see them get burnt playing on their toes with 3 forwards and D rushing than get burnt sitting back chipping and having St. John and Bathurst continue to just come down the ice over and over again and tire them right out.
If they play ballsy hockey, I don't know if that's even an expression, but
Sure.
maybe I'll trademark that. Ballsy hockey.
Ballsy hockey.
And they have Lund Cornish back there. I have full faith. And if they want to go 3 forwards and 1D in the rush, I'm for it. Right? Create some chances because I have faith in Lund Cornish. He's going to bail them out. But if you have someone like a Filion or a Sheehan in net, maybe keep that D on the back a little bit. But yeah, it's funny because the last goal scored on Lund Cornish. Can you tell me who picked up the primary assist?
The last goal scored on
Lund Cornish. Who picked up the primary assist?
would have been Bathurst that scored it.
It's an easy question. Just think about it.
Rumsey?
No.
I don't know who.
Sam McKinney.
I didn't think that that player, yeah.
Yeah, so Sam McKinney was the primary assist on the last goal scored on Lund Cornish. And
4 months ago.
4 months ago, 100 and something days ago. That was also this is crazy because
the exhibition season, we'll call it.
it was the same night that Iacenta scored his first Q goal
Yeah.
and Sean Stewart scored into the empty net. Like, what does this feel like it was months ago? It was months ago.
Yeah.
It literally feels like it was forever.
And I think Sean Stewart shot it from our end.
Yeah.
I think he just turned around and fired it down the ice. Yeah.
And I think, Thursday night, March 11th, I believe it's our first game back. It was also the last game, right, before this from last season.
Yep. Didn't he had that tweet?
Yeah.
They
It was a 3-0 win against
Cape
Cape Breton. Yeah,
that
on
was
March
the Baker
11th.
game where everyone was yelling Jarrett Baker.
Yep.
LaRue had a fight in that one too, down and behind the net. That was one of the games where we had talked about it. There was playoff intensity in that one, and we knew that it was coming. So I guess we all know that Dan Lacroix is a fan of the show.
I didn't know that.
Well, we have to assume, right? they listen to you most of the time. He asks you, give me your line combinations so you can see how close they are to his.
Right.
Who are you going with?
Honestly, I think if I'm judging it just based on what I saw during the scrimmage, this is if Loshing doesn't play. I like LaBelle with Daou and Bernier. I like Barbashev with Hudson and Danielle. I like Richard with Stewart and Langlois. And I like Cloutier with LeBlanc and Stammer. And then, of course, you're going to have Tristan Sanchez was in the scrimmage as well. And, Joachim Matulu. I don't know how to pronounce.
Yeah, I think it was Matulu.
Matulu. He was on the D as well. On the back end, go Connor Olsen with Tristan DeYoung. I would go Sam McKinney with Anthony Hamel, and I would go P-Lot with Paven or Iasenza. So I don't know. That's the top four.
Yeah,
you got to think would be Olsen, DeYoung, McKinney, Hamel. Like I just don't think there's going to be a different combination.
I had DeYoung and Hamel, Olsen and McKinney, Pilot and Iasenza.
Okay.
Our top four is right. Doesn't matter what combination you go with. Lines wise, I had Hudson with Daou and Barbashev. I didn't know about the Loshing stuff, so I had him with LeBlanc and Richard, Danielle, LaBelle, and Bernier, Langlois, Stewart, and Stammer as your fourth line. And, of course, DLC and net, and I got Filion as the backup.
Yeah. Hockey.
Let's do that hockey. I think we're not going to play the when does Filion get his start on every show, but we kind of chatted about this.
Oh, man, where's the D? Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm watching the game, and St. John's just making me laugh my pants off right now.
Oh, yeah, he just walked right around him all the way in. Nice. We're not going to talk about the backup and when Filion's going to play and when Sheehan's going to play, all that, but I guess we'll just have it this one time. Is Filion playing in either of these two first games? Because I got him backing up game
no.
1, but I don't think he plays for. Yeah, I got him backing up. I think he's going to back up the first one just to get his feet wet at home, warm up, very first game. Just there you go, and Shiana back up in game 2. But I don't think they're playing in either of the home games.
I would say, I don't know. I'm not answering the question. I'm not answering the question.
It's a tough question to
it is
answer.
tough.
Yeah.
It's because again, he hasn't played any games. He wasn't with Val-d'Or. He was waiting for his for the Quebec Major AAA season to start. Then he was traded to Moncton, so he hasn't seen any game action all year. So, if I'm smart, I keep him out for at least a few games.
You are playing him in this set of 8, though, right?
Oh God, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wondered if you were keeping him to practice to get his give him 2 full months of practice and whatnot before he plays, maybe. But I guess you have to play him because who knows what's happening in the month of April, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the same way. You got to play him at some point in the 8. I just didn't know.
I think you'll get him he'll get one of the 8, maybe 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, Maritime's. Did you hear us talk about this Maritime bubble?
No.
So we're gonna just say screw you, Newfoundland, and have a Maritime bubble with New Brunswick and Nova Scotia and PEI, which mid-April is the talk.
That lines up perfectly to have a few games to end the regular season and then playoffs.
There you go. Right. So again, I'll do my talk with the premiers here, and I'll join their Zoom call that's scheduled for tonight to talk about the reemergence of the Maritime bubble, and I'll have some news to bring back maybe next week, or maybe we'll have a date for next week.
So should we probably get close to wrapping this thing up if you got to make a Zoom call, eh?
Well, it's not till tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got to jump on with the premiere. So.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. That's speaking of Newfoundland. I forgot to say this in pop culture. Started watching Rock Builds on HGTV.
Okay.
It's a third generation builder in Newfoundland, building all the houses, and it's quite fun to watch. I've seen the kitchen party. I've seen the cat. He'll say something, and then the little word will come up and what it means because he just explains Newfoundland words. So it's just kind of fun to watch them build houses and talk, really. But let's get to everyone's favorite part of the show.
Eric Murray Realty. Buy a house from him.
Stick tap of the week.
All right, so this one kind of goes along with Monday's International Women's Day. I'd like to give the stick tap of the week to Eastlink's Kenzie Lalonde, who's going to be making her debut. I guess if you want to QMJHL debut. Yeah, so she'll be calling her first Q game on Sunday on Eastlink, Halifax against Charlottetown, which is awesome because we need more women in our lives, in sports, in politics, in every industry, every genre, every aspect of life. We need more women. So that's a huge deal for Kenzie, and a very well-deserved honor. I was going to call it promotion, but it's not a promotion because she's really, she's done a fantastic job already with Eastlink. And yeah, so just, we've seen women in sports, Cassie Campbell-Pascal, Jennifer Botterill, Sportsnet's got Caroline Cameron,
Sarah Nurse,
and Kia Nurse. Like, these are strong, powerful women that are doing a lot of good in the world in the world right now. So that was I wanted to tag kind of put that one together with International Women's Day that was just on Monday of this week. So great job, Kenzie, and I will be sure to be tuning into that one. I'm just I'm looking forward to hearing it just because it's really a big it's a game changer, right? Mm-hmm. To have more women in sports and in life.
The Stick Tap Week, sponsored by Eric Murray Real Estate with the Remax Avante team. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Greater Moncton or surrounding area, make sure to check him out on social media or give him a call at 506-863-8255. 8802.
Hockey is back.
Yes, it is, Jeremy. So with hockey being back, there's no cat of the week this week.
Yes, there is.
Who?
Sorry, I just kind of like chiming in. So I think this one's pretty obvious. The cat of the week will go to the winner of the fastest skater at the skills competition. I don't think anybody saw this coming. Nicholas Pavan, edging out Loshing, who I think.
Yeah, I said
if you didn't pick Loshing, your hand slipped on the wrong, on the wrong name. So, I didn't see it coming. I've never seen I've never seen Pavan skate that fast. So I hope he.
Guess we gotta expect it now.
Oh, tie game.
Oh,
Look,
nice.
We are pumping. We got St. John going now.
You're welcome, St. John.
Yeah.
You are welcome.
Francis again. That's my boy.
Yeah. So what's? Yeah, no, we won't get into trying to play that voodoo. All right, yeah, I didn't. Next week we're gonna have. I'll pick the cats of the week from the two games, as you've been able to chime in with the past two. But I mean, yeah, I don't think anybody would have not picked Loshing, as we've basically called him the fastest kid alive since he's been here. So that's your cat of the week, is Pavan, for being the fastest cat during the scrimmages and the skills competition. So that'll do it for this week. Thanks to everyone for joining us. And man, we are 24 hours away from Wildcats hockey as they take on the Acadie Bathurst Teton. Don't forget to use your season ticket from October 18th for the game, as well on Saturday versus the SeaDog. Use your ticket from November 20th. Again, Thursday's game is your October 18th season ticket, or if you bought a ticket from Ticketmaster for that game, you can use that. Thanks again for downloading, joining us on the show. We'll see you next week as we get a recap these past two home games, and we're going to preview, you guessed it, games against the SeaDogs and the Titans. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast Podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.